Joining us on the line now is Jeanne Monahan, the president for the March of Life. The 40th March for Life is taking place today. And Jeanne, boy, you've got some tough weather to deal with. Are you prepared for all of that?
Well, I don't know how prepared we'll be for those wind chills, but we will absolutely be out there because for something as important as this, there's no way that we'll miss it.
All right. Have you made any adjustments because of the weather?
We have. We were supposed to be having a 5K run this morning along East Potomac Park and the Potomac River, so we canceled that. It was just too unsafe, and with the snow and everything. We also had planned to have a short concert from 11:15 to 11:45 outdoors, and we also decided to change that, not have it, but have a few songs played during the rally. And then the actual rally itself, which begins right at noon, which has never, ever been canceled. We will not cancel that. But we will push it forward. We'll keep it moving very quickly and hope to be marching by about 12:45.
Jeanne Monahan is our guest, president of March for Life. And, I saw the statistic yesterday, Jeanne, 55 million since Roe v. Wade was decided 41 years ago. Talk to me about that statistic and what that means to all the people marching in the cold today.
It's just heartbreaking. I mean, we've lost a whole generation of Americans to abortion, and our theme today is actually adoption because talking about statistics, whereas 1.21 million babies are aborted annually. So the number that you just gave, the 55 million, I've actually heard 56 million now. So over the course of the entire 41 years since Roe versus Wade, we've lost 56 million Americans to abortion. What we're talking about today is that annually 1.21 million babies are aborted, whereas only 15 to 20,000 infants are adopted in our country every year. Yeah. So we're trying to get at that discrepancy and encourage women to choose being a birth mother more often and to choose that beautiful, noble option of adoption.
Let's talk about the politics in this really fast. I do see that you have one Democrat speaking today, Representative Dan Lipinski of Illinois. Good for him. But it does seem like, and I know you're not a partisan organization, but it seems like the issue of abortion has turned into a partisan topic for Republicans and Democrats, both sort of squaring off on different sides of this. And it appeared with the fights against partial birth abortion and also with the new science involved with ultrasounds, it looked like the right to life side was starting to gain some traction politically. Yeah. But when you see some of the campaigns that have been waged and the whole idea of a war on women lately, it looks as though Republicans have fallen back a little bit. What do you think about the political standing right now of the abortion issue?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the war on women because as I was reflecting and really thinking about my remarks today, that's the thing that came to my mind immediately, and that's actually what I'm going to address. Because I think the real problem, and I'll get to your question in just a minute, is a war on women in a misunderstood way. It's a war on motherhood right now, which in turn is a war on women. And there are so many reasons that this is happening. That's happening through the health care law right now in a lot of different ways, a war on motherhood. It's also happening with this whole adoption thing that I just mentioned, too, and abortion. I mean, the fact that we're having 1.21 million abortions, and so those babies are lost, but the moms are wounded, and, I mean, physiologically and psychologically. So as to the politics of it, we are a nonpartisan organization, as I mentioned. Of course, it's much easier to get the Republicans to come out for this. It's a little more difficult, and I really applaud Mr. Lipinski. He spoke last year via webcast. He's coming this year. We actually also had invited a state senator, a Democratic senator from Washington State. He got snowed out, but we're happy when anybody will come and talk about the life issue. It's so important to us, but certainly what you indicate in terms of the Republican support, there's no question.
Yeah, but I think Larry is right though, because he was saying, the ultrasound, when you get pregnant, you see the ultrasound. I think that has changed so many people's thinking on the issue of abortion. But then we just witnessed in Virginia a governor's race where it was the number one topic, and the guy who was pro-choice won. Wendy Davis down in Texas has raised something like $12 million to run for governor because of her stance of being pro-choice. I mean, are you losing the political battle here?
Well, what I believe, and we actually hired a legislative guy, Tom McCluskey, who would be interesting to talk to about this more than me. But what I believe is that there is a bunch of inflammatory rhetoric. Like in that Virginia race, everything that was said by the other side, and Planned Parenthood put over $1 million into that race, everything was untrue. They've got a few buzzwords that are scaring the heck out of everyone right now and are influencing elections, but they're completely not based on truth.
Jeanne Monahan is the president of the March for Life, which will go on today at noon on the Mall, despite the temperatures. And God bless everybody out there braving the snow and the cold. Can I ask you one last question? You talk about political buzzwords. We hear from President Obama, we heard from President Clinton, and candidate Hillary Clinton, I'm sure, will say the same thing, that they want abortion to be safe, legal, and rare. In your experience observing the actions of the presidents that I just mentioned and Hillary Clinton, what have they done to make abortion rare?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's a great question. I think it's false rhetoric again. 1.21 million is anything but rare. And if we're going to talk about the organizations that support folks like Hillary Clinton and our current president, Planned Parenthood, they do something like 350 abortions for every one adoption referral. So I think that speaks volumes.
All right. Guys, stay warm out there. Wear layers, Jeanne Monahan. But
Yeah.
I know that you'll be getting warmth from lots of places today.
Thanks so much.